Hi, my name is Chiboyi Makenga. I'd like to introduce you to this magnificent, beautiful calendar called Kamit Calendar. This is a project that myself and a friend, Imhotep Chilombo, who conceived it or developed it. What you see in this calendar is a divinity called Sekhmet. And Sekhmet could also be pronounced in an African language as Sakamatu. And she's the divinity of war. So we are in a period where Africans, or where Kamites have to claim back their importance in the history, and this comes with taking action and then really fighting to represent ourselves in the world. For the 2020 calendar, we decided to honor our women. So that's why we decided that for this first calendar, it was going to be focused on the great heroes or sheroes of our history. So we represent women. So it's mainly people such as Winnie Mandela, such as Harriet Tubman, such as Queen Nzinga, Pauline Lumumba, etc. Pauline Lumumba, if we go back to the history, you will remember that Congo was independent in early 60s. And then a person known as Patrice Lumumba was the first prime minister of that government. And then his wife is the one who represents a form of a symbol of the resistance or the desire for liberation in the Congo. Angela Davis is known for having a background in the Communist Party in the United States of America. So she's a sister from the US. But what really is important about her was that she was one of the first women to join the Black Panthers Party, which was a party for the liberation of black people in the US. And then she had a death sentence in the early 70s. In the end, she was not killed, but she represents that resistance and fight for our people. Rosa Parks, we need to go back in the 60s. There was a segregation system in the US where black people were made to sit at the back of buses. And she's the sister who refused to give her seat to a white man. And then, so she's really in the middle of that moment of tension where blacks and whites were fighting. We need to go to the UK. Claudia Jones is a brilliant sister. She was a communist, she was a nationalist, and she's considered to be the mother of the Notting Hill Carnival. So you have to remember that the Notting Hill Carnival was, to start with, something that was taking place in small rooms or setups. And then she's basically at the start of, she's known for being the one behind the Notting Hill Carnival. Miriam Makeba is a beautiful, beautiful sister from South Africa. South Africa had a very dramatic history where there was a system set up known as apartheid, where whites were made to live in certain parts of the country and black people were made to live in other parts which were less beautiful. And then Miriam Makeba is known for having sung a song called Pata Pata. And she used that song to talk about the apartheid. And then as a result, the apartheid regime kicked her out of the country. And then it's when Nelson Mandela became president that he called her back to go back to her country. So basically she symbolizes through her art of singing her resistance against apartheid. Harriet Tubman is a sister, beautiful, brilliant sister from the United States. She's a sister who was fighting to free slaves during the slave period. She's also the one who was responsible for the Underground Railway. And then what she was trying to do was basically to try to free slaves. And then rumors said that she never failed to free a particular slave. So she's really known for fighting to free slaves and to really put an end to slavery in the United States of America. Miriam Sankara is the wife of Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara was a president in Upper Volta, which became Burkina Faso, because the president wanted to really assume your legacy and to really be free from any pressures from the outside. So Miriam Sankara basically symbolizes the struggle and the fight of her husband. Maya Angelou is a sister from the United States of America. She's known for being an actress. She wrote poetry, she wrote novels, and she symbolizes the desire for Africans or in the United States to write about their lives. And so basically she's someone who was just known for writing for her people. Ella Fitzgerald is just a very talented sister who was known for singing jazz. So this is just someone because of the talent that she expressed through her singing. Coretta Scott King is the wife of a great man in the United States of America called Martin Luther King Jr., known for his fight, especially in the South, in Alabama, for fighting against racism and fighting against segregation. So she's the wife of that wonderful, wonderful brother in the United States. Kathleen Cleaver is a sister from the United States of America. She joined the Black Panthers, and she's the one behind the slogan "Black is Beautiful." So she's the one who was always in the media. She was basically the public figure of the Black Panthers. Beautiful sister with a big afro. So she's the one who was always seen in the media, and she was just fighting for the liberation of Black people in the United States. Aline Sito, we have to go to Senegal. Aline Sito was a sister who was known for asking and fighting for equality between men and women. Aline Sito was the sister who didn't want the colonizer to impact on your life. So she would tell her people not to submit to some of the rules that the colonizers were imposing on her people. So if the colonizer would say do this or do that, she was the one who would tell them, don't do it, just live your life. Betty Shabazz is the wife of the late and great Malcolm X. So she symbolizes the struggle and the fight of her husband, who was in the Nation of Islam, who would then go on to set up his own party, his own movement. Simone Gbagbo is the wife of Laurent Gbagbo. Ivory Coast is a beautiful country in West Africa. There's a leader, there's a man who was in the opposition, was fighting. He ended up being elected president, loved by his people. A person really is loved in Ivory Coast, a country that I visited, by the way. And then Laurent Gbagbo became president. There will be a tragic situation where he'll be unfairly arrested, sent on trial in The Hague. But Simone Gbagbo represents the fight alongside her husband. Again, another sister who's known in her country. Yeah, Shantewa, we have to go to Ghana. And in Ghana, there was an empire known as the Ashanti Empire. So she came from that group of people. And what is known for her was definitely her fearless, her fightful, her determination to fight for her people. Kimpa Vita, Congo, Kimpa Vita, Congo. The two go together. It's like water and chocolate, the two go together. So Kimpa Vita is a sister who just fought for her people in the Congo. Something important to know about Kimpa Vita is that the people who were occupying that country at that time didn't like what she was doing. So they saw her as a threat. So in the end, she ended up being killed. And how did she die? She was burned alive together with her child. So Kimpa Vita, her name symbolizes holiness, sanctity, even to this day, to this present day in Congo. Yes, she was a healer, so she was known for healing people. She was basically Nganga. Queen Mother Moore is connected very, very closely to Marcus Garvey and his movement, the UNIA, which was a movement to fight for black people to establish themselves politically, economically, and socially. So Queen Mother Moore, through her activism, was basically actively working together with Marcus Garvey for making the lives of black people in the America a better place to be. Amelia Boynton Robinson is connected to Selma in the south of the United States. So there was an event in Selma known as Bloody Sunday, where the police opened fire and many people were injured, and she's one of them. In fact, you can still see on the internet to this day images of that particular event where black people were marching against the oppression that they were victim of in the United States. Way before Serena and Venus Williams, there was already a sister who's not really well known, but who was the first sister to win both the Wimbledon and the French Open. We're talking about tennis here. So a great champion, very elegant. Winnie Madikizela Mandela. Her name symbolizes the lion who protects her children. So this is her name. So can you imagine when you've got that name, what kind of person you can be? So Winnie Mandela, there's no Winnie Mandela without Nelson Mandela. So there's no king without a queen. So Winnie Mandela is that determination, drive, passion, love, and focus idea of fighting for liberation. So this is who Winnie Mandela is. Nandi, we are talking about Ghana here. In Ghana, there was an empire known as the Ashanti. So she was a sister, again, determination, power, strength, and determination for her people. This is the mother of Fela Kuti, a singer in Nigeria who's very well known. So Funmilayo Kuti was known for her activism, for her political stand. She was very, very active in her time. One thing to mention here is how she died. The police or the military came to the house where she was at that time. She was thrown from the second floor up to the ground. So this is how she tragically died. But she's known for, again, her determination to fight against corruption and the politicians who were not doing their job properly. Rana Valona III was a queen in Madagascar. She's actually the last queen. So this is the last queen to be in power over there. Now we have to remember that during that time, the French didn't like her. And then so she ended up living her life. Basically, she was no longer a queen and she was made to live abroad, in particular in Algeria. So she went to live in exile in Algeria, but what symbolizes her is her elegance, is definitely the same thing over and over again, which is fighting for your people. So we have to remember that in Africa, if you fight for your people, chances are you're going to be in trouble. Tetu Betul is someone known for her position in Ethiopia. So she's a sister who is one of my favorite queens because she's someone who just made it so obvious and clear that she wanted to fight for her people, come what may. So she's one of the sisters who would say, we don't need you Italians to tell us what to do. We know exactly what we need to do. We know where we need to go. And actually, we can do it even better, but if you leave us alone. So she's that kind of sister with that mentality to really fight and make things happen for yourself. Queen Zinga was a queen in Angola who was a soldier. In addition to being a queen, she was a military machine. So Queen Zinga was really the person who would fight for her people And there's a book here that I would like to show you. So this is who Queen Zinga is. So she's really a fighter. For so many years, she'll be leading many kingdoms. And there is no Angola without Queen Zinga. So this is the person that we're talking about here. Strong, strength, power, determination. This is Queen Zinga.